Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Nothing Ever Works, explaining the interwebs. There's a Stream Deck update, so that's why you got like the quick blurbs of the intro. I don't know, man. I pressed the button, it started, and it shifted. Nothing can ever just work. Nothing can ever just work. So. You may notice, do not adjust your television. Do not adjust your television. The redness is not me becoming transracial. It is not me being adopted by Elizabeth Warren. It is nothing like that. The redness is the beautiful effect of the Hawaiian sun in about 30 minutes on my delicate complexion. I was absolutely roasted. Dry roasted in the heat of the day. It is great. And if you think I'm just merely like tan or red, or get your shades out. I'm gonna show you the drastic level of sunburn that I received. Which is, I'm telling you guys, like you won't believe me. You might. My heat allergy, I don't like sit outside in the heat in the direct sunlight. I don't do that. It's very, very uncomfortable for me. So this all happened in about 30 minutes out on what is actually the newest beach on Earth, created by the 2018 eruptions. I don't know if I'm going to talk too much about all of that. Maybe just as a recap of what you can do at HawaiiCon. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more. But look at this. Look at this. Look at the drastic difference in skin tone there. This is my normal pasty incel color, and this is the effect of a mere like 30 to 45 minutes sitting out in the middle of the sun. I didn't even apply sunscreen because I thought, you know, we're only outside for a little bit. And both Lady Rackets and I got absolutely instantly cooked. So it's great. The worst part about it, so I was wearing a shirt that had a slightly smaller, I switched to this shirt because it's got a little bit wider neck and it doesn't sit right on the burn. But the shirt I was wearing today, all yesterday, for my overnight flight, sat up about here and was enraging. It was absolutely infuriating. For an entire plane ride and then a car ride that followed. So, I am so glad to be back. Back to streaming. I love going to cons. I love going on vacation. Love spending time with Lady Rackets. We had, here's all of the conspiracy theories. Let me dispel all of them at once. Yes, Lady Rackets was with me. No, we did not bring 5 children to a convention where I would be doing some semblance of work with networking and stuff like that. We didn't do that. But what I'm not going to do is announce to the world where my children are when I'm not there. Like, that just doesn't seem prudent. And it takes a special kind of stupid pretend lawyer to really ask the hard-hitting questions in such a pedophilic manner as, where are your children? Where are your children? Where are your children? Martin Bettich, you're a fucking pedo. It's disgusting. You should really get help. You're seriously bordering on... No. Let me change that. You're barging directly through the doors of reasonable behavior. And I'm not talking about insults and all of that stuff. You can insult people all day. But demanding to know where someone's children are on a daily basis? You need therapy and maybe police intervention. My God, man. Absolutely disgusting. So yes, no, I'm not going to announce to the world the status of my children at your pleasure, you disgusting pedophile. Goodness gracious. But no, they were with people that we trust, who love our children very much and take great care of them. And that was wonderful of them to do, so that Lady Rackets and I could both have a little time to ourselves and enjoy the festivities of HawaiiCon. And I could work on making connections that will help out with the show and with other projects going forward. So that was absolutely great. Here's how this stream's gonna go. It's always weird coming back because a bunch of stuff has happened all over the place, and trying to pick the right entry is difficult. Right, ladies? Trying to pick the right entry is difficult. So what I have to do right now is kind of debrief what I've been doing, and then over the next couple days we'll be really getting into where things go going forward. So first I'm going to debrief HawaiiCon a little more extensively than I did on my very short stream yesterday. And I do apologize that I wasn't able. I brought a streaming setup to that hotel, and there was really nowhere I could set up and stream properly. There just wasn't a place to do it. The only stream I did was done standing out by the ocean. I know the audio was probably garbage because there's waves and white noise everywhere. They don't allow black noise in Hawaii. It's very, very racist. That's a joke. There's waves and white noise everywhere. And so I know the audio is terrible because I'm just sitting there with like holding a stupid phone, right? Doing this video. But I did want to get something out, especially when the news about the mediation hit. So I wanted to do that very briefly, as terrible as the audio was. But there was nowhere where I could sit down and have internet to a computer. It would have to be running through a cell phone with a local hotspot, and that has never been a great streaming surface. That has never been a great streaming setup for me. So I was hoping the hotel internet was absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Speculation is that it has something to do with some coding on the floating hardline wire back to the mainland. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but maybe. Who knows? Who cares? Didn't work. That's the main thing. So, that said, I hate not being able to stream for such a long time. It's frustrating. It's difficult to get back into things, and I know a bunch of weird stuff has been going on, but I also wouldn't have really been able to do any sort of call-in or interview things with the setup that I had as effectively. That said, we're gonna have some interviews and stuff going forward. We're going to have a Second Amendment advocate lawyer down in Florida who is dealing with red flag laws. When I say floating wire, I mean it floats, but it's like a mile below the surface. It floats deep, but it doesn't lay on the ocean floor. Because I don't know if you know this, but between Hawaii and the mainland, the ocean floor is ridiculously deep. So it stays at a particular depth. Anyway, we've got a Second Amendment advocate lawyer who deals with red flag laws. She's going to be coming and joining the stream at some point in the near future. As soon as I get connected with her, I've got a couple YouTube personalities that I am attempting to get on the show. You guys might know them. One of them is Mikkel. Mikkel was at HawaiiCon. I got to meet him. Seems like a really great dude. I got to hang out with he and his wife, and we got to just spend some time together. And really, really nice guy. So that was awesome. Hopefully we'll have him on the show soon, and we can talk. He's been able to have quite a bit of access to different parts of the industry that I will never have access to based on this. So great to get him involved and get his perspective on things as they've been going. Another guy who was not there, but I was able to make a connection to, was the amazing Lucas. I don't know if you guys know the amazing Lucas, but I think I'm going to be talking to him sometime soon about I don't know, doing some content together. I don't know what we're gonna get into, but he's a very nice guy that I got to get connected with, so we're gonna talk to him soon. And hopefully either bring him on the show or something like that. That said, I got to meet a ton of great people at HawaiiCon. HawaiiCon, I can't, it's going to sound shilly. So get shilled, ladies and gentlemen. Get shilled. HawaiiCon is full of great people. It's full of people who you have to understand that pretty much every guest in the entertainment realm specifically. And so HawaiiCon, let me back up. HawaiiCon is a couple different parts. They've got a literature part where they had Terry Brooks, the author of the Shannara Chronicles. They had oh man, I'm so bad with names. Ron or Rob? Hold on. I'll get the names. Wait, there we go. Let's get the names of everybody. I met them. They're wonderful, and I'm such a lame dude for not remembering. Rob. I couldn't remember if it was Rob or Ron. Rob Sawyer. Rob Sawyer, who's the most accomplished, or I guess most award-winning sci-fi author there is. He's the author of several books. He's also he wrote the last 2 episodes of Star Trek Continues, Vic Mignogna's Star Trek series. So he was there. We had let's see, who else did I meet? John Rice Davies was there. Eddie McClintock, Mindy Sterling, were people that I met specifically. They also have, they have authors, predominantly sci-fi authors there. They have actors and voice actors in sort of the entertainment industry. They also have scientists, a bunch of scientists, because the owners of the convention are deeply rooted in the scientific community. And so you have to understand that the entertainment people who were going to HawaiiCon, sorry. These are people who got the harassment and the trolling that we've seen over and over, right? Vic gets announced somewhere, and then immediately a suspicious army of people try to get everybody else to cancel their appearances, telling them that they're supporting an absolute rapist, right? So this is something that these people have to deal with, and these are people who all endured that and came anyway. Because, you know, there are problems with saying someone's a rapist, and that coming from some anonymous random internet person. Shockingly, reasonable people who have a backbone don't just back down because someone says someone else is a rapist without any sort of evidence to it. But there are a whole bunch of people who do, obviously. There are a whole bunch of people who do, and it's really a shame. But the majority of people in the entertainment industry, I shouldn't say the majority of people at HawaiiCon, of course, endured that and looked past it. HawaiiCon is a con full of great people who really don't, they really do seem to stand for the idea of due process and not trial by Twitter. I don't speak for any of them or anything like that, but I do know that that was a serious issue that HawaiiCon guests and HawaiiCon staff had to deal with. So, the owners of HawaiiCon are wonderful people. The board of HawaiiCon, what they do on their budget is shocking. And so getting back to it, I can't stress enough how cool this convention actually is. I know it's out of some people's price range, but if you have the ability to go to HawaiiCon, you should really consider it because it's an experience like no other that I've been to. Now, I've been to 4 cons this year, okay? Conmunity in Amarillo, which is a very small baby con. Very nice people. Not a huge guest list or anything like that. So that's one experience that I had. Very local fan-run con. I went to, obviously, Anime Matsuri in Houston. Huge expo con. Pretty impressive guest list, but lots of vendors and stuff like that. Went to Bubba Fest with a ridiculous guest list. Tons of people from all sorts of different industries. Many of the names are household names at Bubba Fest. And then I've been to HawaiiCon. Nowhere can you go and have access to guests like you can in HawaiiCon that I've been to. And I mean, these are not like, random guests. They're high tier talent. You had John Rhys Davies, Gimli from Lord of the Rings, right? You had Eddie McClintock, one of the co-stars of Warehouse 13, as well as a very accomplished TV actor, all around very, very nice guy. You had Vic, obviously a big name in the anime industry. Terry Brooks, Rob Sawyer. These are not small names in their fields. So you can actually go and spend time with them. It's not just walk in an hour-long queue, go up, get an autograph, have 30 seconds to say hi. For the majority of the con, they're not lines at any of their tables, which is not a slight to them at all. This isn't a high population convention. But the ability to just walk up to any of these people, Mindy Sterling, of course, too. Again, accomplished voice actress, accomplished film actress. You can just walk up and spend time with them, and they engage with you. They get to know you. It's really great. And then, of course, there are all sorts of events you can do with them as well. So some of the things you can do there are like get on a boat and go on a snorkel tour, like Lady Rackets and I did. That snorkel tour was attended by Eddie McClintock and Vic Mignogna. So you get to spend some time on this boat hanging out with these people. There's a bunch of other people too, but it's pretty intimate. Maybe 15 people total from the convention are there. You can sit down and have dinner one of the nights with them. If you buy the VIP tickets, that's it. You don't have to buy VIP tickets for this. You just have to pay for the specific tours, which is comparable to what you'd pay just going on the tour by itself. If you buy the VIP tickets, there are all sorts of VIP events, which basically involve a bunch of people sitting around, having champagne or wine or whiskey, having a cigar, and just getting to talk to some of the guests and spend time with them. No constraints, no weird autograph line interaction, just person-to-person stuff. I can't talk highly enough about the experience. Plus, you're on frickin' Hawaii, which is great. A little hot in Kona, but it's a beautiful place to be. There's all sorts of stuff you can do around the island as well. And so, if you get a chance to go, I highly recommend taking about a week, leaving yourself 4 days for the con and a couple days to do other stuff. Go do it. Go do it. I'm not going to sit and rave about HawaiiCon a whole bunch right now. Like I said, I want to get at least one, if not multiple of the owners or board members on the show to talk about it and also their experiences in this field. So we'll leave that for those shows. Let me grab a couple of these super chats, and then we'll move into the next area, which is we're going to start talking about the mediation. I'll kind of recover the mediation stuff that's gone on, and then we're going to move into the judgment speculation and what the next few days, weeks, months looks like. Okay, so we're going to do that. But first, super chats. Francisco Ramos Mejia. Welcome back, Nick. Thanks for all the great coverage you've given us. Hey, thank you, Francisco. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name too bad. Gothic says, rather be slightly toasted than contracting West Nile in my book. Don't let me forget, I've got some grifting to do very specifically. Thank you, Gothic. Right after the super chats, I'm going to grift you first with something you might want. Maybe. I don't know if you want it or not. But if you don't, great. If you do, awesome. We'll see. We'll see. This is how the grift works. I'm the best grifter. Really tremendous. Kazma says, wow, that sun wrecked you, huh, Nick? Hope you had a good time. I had an exquisite time. Did you try any Hawaiian food? Well, I mean, I ate lots of fish, lots of ahi, lots of mahi-mahi. I didn't have any ono this trip. I have before, but I did eat at L&L's and got myself a Moco Loco or Loco Moco or whatever it is, which is absolutely delicious. And of course had lots of Kahlua pork. Nova Zero says, report for child endangerment. Good to see back, Nicker. Always looking awfully red there. Did you avoid applying the ointment out of some recent traumatic memories or something? Yes, I could not apply the sacred ointment. Couldn't do it. I tried. Every time I did, my hand would shake. Def Not Ron Snack Tray Toye says, sheepdogs don't mediate. We simply get cooked by Drexel. Okay. Ryan Mercado says, Nick not streaming for very long. Excuse me. You have earned yourself a trip to the federal Supermax prison, Nikki. Also, when is BoomerCon going to be a thing? I'm going to talk about that more a little bit later. The Texan 83 says, I don't know, Nick. Whatever convention that Hammock, Markey, and Rial were at recently, apparently you could just walk up to them because no one was in their lines. So there is that option. Well, I mean, that is true. That is true. If you want to go see them, apparently you can. 99 Kresnik says, since you mentioned sci-fi, you hear about the Twitter mob that went after Dan Simmons for going against Greta the Climate Scold. Did they? I love Dan. Minor kerfuffle, but it's like reverse go woke, go broke since his book went #1. I'm a huge Dan Simmons advocate. I have not read through Hyperion or Endymion or all of that stuff, but I have read Ilium and Olympus. They're two of my favorite books. In fact, I recommended them to several people at the convention this past week. Okay. Let's see now. What do we got? Oh, the grift. The grift is strong. The grift is strong with this one. Let's grift you guys. Get grifted. The grift jokes, I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if is this fixed? Is this ready? I don't know. Okay. Hold on. I'm pulling it up right now. Pulling it up right now. Okay. Oh man, I'm so good at this. You guys have no idea. Let's do that. No, I don't. Here we go. So this is a new product on the Teespring store. Let's here we go. Here's a new mug. Here's a new mug for you guys. I think we might be working on a shirt if people are interested. But here is the... Can I go? I can go up all the way. Perfect. Here's the mug. This is the West Nile mug. See if we can get that whole thing in there. This is, yeah. Oh, I missed my joke! This listing is gonna take your breath away! Dang it! So there you go. We've got one option up right now. The back side of the mug is blank, but it's here. And then there's going to be another option if people want to go the full joke. We're going to add some words to the other side of the mug that says West Nile, Best Nile. So if you want to go all the way, you can have the West Nile, Best Nile mug, while you've got the lemon sucking mosquito on the first one. On the other side, if you don't want to go all that far into cruelty, you can just stick with the lemon sucking mosquito. But there you go. There you go. So I want to have both those options up for people, because I know not everybody wants the words on the mug, and some people don't want a blank side of the mug. So you guys can buy whichever you want, or not buy anything. If you don't need another mug, you can just laugh at it. That's okay too. Or not laugh at it, I guess. But so there you go. We'll have the two mugs up. West Nile, Best Nile, and then the blank one. So hopefully you guys like this. It's on the Teespring store, which is listed in the description. It may even be scrolling below your video right now, so you can go check those out. If you're waiting for the one with words, I think that's coming really, really soon. You should have your joke as a third option. Mug takes your breath away. So that's it. It's $15, which is like the default mug price on Teespring. So there you go. If you want a mug, or if you think your loved one needs a mug, that's that. This is not done by my usual artist. I have to say, this is a work from another artist, and if you like this art style, I'm going to encourage you to visit her. Her name is Taylor. Her Instagram is Taylulz. Here it is. Taylulz. She's a big JoJo fan and a cosplayer and an artist. So if you like the artwork, you can check her out. It's at Instagram TAYL0LZ. So that's Taylulz. So you can so here's her Instagram. You can see all sorts of pictures of her and her JoJo art, but and her cosplay stuff. So give her a follow on Instagram. She also has a link here, this link tree. She has her own Teespring store as well, so you can check that out if you like. I think she's got JoJo stickers and stuff on the Teespring store. So if you like her stuff, support it, right? There you go. There you go. So that's Taylulz. So yeah, but she really did fantastic work on this mug, I think. And if you guys like the mug, get the mug. You know, whatever you want. Whatever you want. Okay. So that's that. Get grifted. Get grifted. Definitely buy the mug. 1/2 of all proceeds go to someone who makes fun of me. So there's that. What's next? There's a couple more chats. I should read those, and then we'll get back into the whole Vic updates and speculation and I mean, it's not really speculative in everything. Some of the stuff is speculative because you just don't know, and there's no way to know. Anybody telling you they have the answer on this stuff is a liar. Let's see. Oh man, I'm ruining my own streaming setup. Here we go. We've got Devil Hunter Nero says, how's many arms and legs need to be sacrificed to go to HawaiiCon? How many arms and legs need to be sacrificed to go to HawaiiCon? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. So HawaiiCon is a nonprofit, and this is one of the interesting things. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the con so much, but I want to get something kind of across. It's because this is relevant. HawaiiCon is a nonprofit convention. It's fan run. It is, it's not a giant money generating machine, and therefore the prices are actually not unreasonable for the convention or anything like that. I don't know how many people get access to it, But the hotel was not okay. Here, the group rate for the hotel was like $190 a night, which sounds like a lot, except that it's more expensive to stay at the Hilton by Matsuri, for example. And there are other places you could stay. This is stay at the hotel where the convention takes place. So you can wake up, walk down to the convention, and go do whatever you want to do, all at the hotel. So it's the same price to stay on Hawaii as it was to stay. Well, it's actually cheaper to stay there than it was to stay in downtown Houston, for example. Okay, it's not an unreasonable rate, and that's for a nice king bed with either a mountain view or an ocean view. Now, if you don't get access to the group rate, not everybody does. It's a Marriott Bonvoy property, which, well, I don't know if not everybody does. I guess it depends on when you book, but it's a Marriott Bonvoy property, and if you're a member of that, it goes all the way up to $192 a night. So it adds $3. It adds $3 to it, and membership in that is free. So you're talking about, for what you're getting, where you're staying on the island, a pretty reasonable room rate that's available. The biggest hindrance is the plane tickets and the time. I mean, honestly, that's the most expensive part of the convention is the plane tickets and the time. So, but if you buy early enough and all of that stuff, you may be able to get a pretty good deal on that. So yeah, but it is a non-profit con. Tickets are not absurdly expensive or anything like that. And like I said, what you get access to. But this is all in the what's called the Aloha spirit. It makes running a con very interesting. Hawaii is in the U.S., but its culture is very specific. It's very specific. And part of that Aloha spirit is not charging people an arm and a leg. Plus, Kona is not like the wealthiest island on the planet either. You know, Maui has a much different wealth distribution than the Big Island, and so they're not out there to fleece people or anything like that. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, and just to let you know, like, this is how different Hawaii in general is than the idiots on Twitter. Okay, they actually did have to make a very basic announcement to people. I shouldn't say have to. They chose to make a very basic announcement to just remind people to get some sort of, you know, consent on hugging people and stuff like that, because in Hawaii, part of the culture is physical contact. Like that's a thing. Everybody hugs everybody. As far as I could tell, I don't know, I'm getting hugged all over the place. Which is great. It's very positive energy, and it's very, I don't want to say intimate, but it kind of is, or just freaking normal is what it is. But it's a culture that embraces people in a very specific way, both literally and figuratively. So it's not like a crazy. And it wasn't like you must get affirmative consent on 3 forms type thing. It's like, hey, just a reminder, not everybody hugs. So, but it was assumed that people would be in contact, and they very much are. The culture is way different there, and I'm saying that as a very positive thing. So that sort of Aloha spirit permeates the entire convention. So anyway, I know I need a haircut. Okay, back to it. Infernal Iris says, Nick, a guy at work argued that our laws are guilty until proven innocent because police have to assume an accusation is true in order to investigate. Any advice on how to counter his argument, or does it have some merit? In principle, we're all innocent until proven guilty. In practice, much of the criminal justice system is based on the assumption that you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. I mean, it has merit. The best thing to do is to, if you're going to approach that conversation and engage in that, what you need to do is clarify what the ideal and the principle is, that our country was founded on, that our legal system is founded on, and talk about the flaw in making that leap to guilty until proven innocent, and note that the reason we have innocent until proven guilty written into the very fabric of the founding of our country is because it's so easy for governments to slip away from that, including ours, and we fail very, very often. Again, tell someone who's accused of a crime, right, just accused of a crime, that is now out on bail, they had to put up $15,000 bail to be free while they're not guilty. Tell them that they're not guilty yet, right? And they're being treated just like everybody else, innocent until proven guilty. Or tell the guy who couldn't afford that has to show up to court in a jumpsuit and cuffs, that he's innocent until proven guilty, as he's handcuffed to his table in a courtroom. Yeah, there's definitely merit to it, but the trick is getting into those principled discussions, principle versus the practical reality. So Def Not Ron Snack Tray Toye says true grit requires guns, true grift requires remotes and lemonade. There you go. Drax says, evening, Nick. Just wondering how to get access to your Discord. Glad you had a good time in Hawaii. My Discord is accessed by people who have either a $5 subscription to Patreon, $5 or more, subscription to Patreon, or New Project 2. Either one. Patreon, you can automatically link your Discord to it, and it'll pop you right in there and give you the appropriate role. New Project 2 requires the extra step of emailing, but if you don't like Patreon and want to support me through New Project 2, they're the same rewards for both things. I will actually be doing 2 cooking streams this month because I wasn't able to get to one last month with the trip. So look for a cooking stream coming up very soon, and then another cooking stream later in the month if you are a $5 plus Discord or New Project 2 person. But that's how you get access to it. If you do sign up on New Project 2, follow up with me in email, and I can get you into it. Texan83 says, 1 arm and 1 leg and the body of your younger brother. That's what must be sacrificed to go to HawaiiCon. Sounds good. Kamikaze Kid says, just bought an Imperial Knight. Whoa! Oh my gosh. So since I enjoy abusing my bank account harder than Soye abuses his peen while Tyrone goes to work on Monica, have 20 quid for the entertainment from a bloke grifting the night shift. Hey, buddy. Awesome job. Big investment of the Imperial Knight. Man, send me, when you paint it, please send me the results. I would love to see it. What you guys do is amazing. With the painting, and I would love to learn it. Oh, best part of the con. Hands down, best part of the con. All right, are you guys ready for this? Lady Racket says to me, you know, I'd kind of like to learn how to play Warhammer. Boom. Done. Thank you, HawaiiCon. I'm now going to be broke for the rest of my life, but living in marital bliss. So there you go. Absolutely fantastic. Okay. Nova Zero says, the Honi is a thing. Guess these weirdos hate Polynesian culture, or, are the Polynesians devoid of life? So there you go. All right. Let's get talking about Vic. Okay, let's get talking about this. So got a little bit of, and let's be clear, 40K or nothing. We're not gonna be delving into Age of Sigmar or anything. Okay, why am I snacking? What am I doing? This is still this show, not the Twitch show. Twitch show will be on tonight. Who paid for that glorious vacation, Nikki? It was definitely Ty Beard's law firm. He paid for it directly. Actually, he sent me nickels in by mail to pay for my entire vacation, and each stamp was also purchased by the GoFundMe. That's what happened. Okay. let's recap the mediation. I think I need a little bit of I haven't had a drink in days. Oh, wait. That's what we need. Okay. So to celebrate some Hawaiian gin. Got this is Fid Street Gin. This is distilled in Maui at the Highly Miley Distilling Company. I strongly recommend getting your hands on some Fid Street. It is a worthy gin, which are hard to, well, they're not hard to find, but this one is very fragrant, very floral, and very tasty. Okay. Raider J says, use this to make a down payment for 40K miniature for Lady Rackets. Pyretta Riddle says, hey, Nikki, glad to have you back. Also, you gave us blue balls being gone. I do apologize for that. Also, side note, you will be sued, Nikki. Also, con sluts, rise up, boomer. And Fatal System Error says, sup, Nick, been rather busy. While you were off getting sunburnt in Hawaii, I bought a new house for $118,000. Nice place. Here's $20 for some aloe vera. Hey, you can do red face next. Thanks, buddy. Congrats on the new house. And believe me, as much as you guys miss me, I missed you. Like, genuinely. This is the greatest job on earth, and getting to chat with you guys every night is tons of fun. So I appreciate your hanging out and watching with me. Let's talk Vic. I've been pushing. I'm not consciously pushing this off. I'm still on that travel brain. Everything is scattered, and I'm organizing as I go, which is not always the best way to do things. Never. It's never the best way. But it's how life is right now. So here's what happens. Recap of the mediation. I can't tell you too much, but let me give you some basic details. Mainly because I don't know much more than what I'm telling you. I don't know if I know any more than what I'm telling you. I don't know. I'm going to tell you what I know. What I know is that everybody showed up to mediation. All the parties were there. There was some misconception about one of my statements from yesterday's stream where I was talking about Jamie Markey not showing up in good faith. Some people thought that I meant that she didn't show up for the mediation. That's not what I meant at all. I was referring to her tweet about live tweeting a mediation. Lol, such a joke, or whatever. Yeah, that just kind of looked like not good faith. Very, very weird thing to do. But no, everybody was there. There was, the three people defendants and some representative from Funimation were all there. Vic was there as well. So, that being said, what happened inside the mediation, I don't really know. Other than I know that no deal was reached. What I can tell you is that the mediation lasted somewhere around 8 to 10 hours. I don't know specifically how long that was. Like, I don't know if it was 8 minutes and 15 or 8 hours and 15 minutes or something like that, but it was somewhere between 8 and 10 hours. The mediation was going on for a very, very long time. As for how other people acted, who all acted in good faith or bad faith or anything like that, I don't know. My inference from Markey's tweet was that she wasn't taking it very seriously. I would consider that bad faith. Will this have real world repercussions for her? Probably not, right? I don't think we're going to see any sort of thing. You do have a duty to show up and act in good faith, but you know what the breach of that duty, if it's not egregious, entails is really kind of open. I don't think we're going to see Judge Chupp like punishing or sanctioning Jamie Markey for that tweet or anything like that. So don't mistake me. But it just is indicative of how these Nimrods have gone about this whole thing. They're absolutely loathsome humans, if you can call them that, and they just put it on display for the whole world over and over and over again. So that's to clarify all of that. Everybody did show up. My comment about the lack of good faith was Jamie Markey's tweet. It's still up. I believe you can go look at it. It's nothing special. It's just talking about live tweeting a mediation, which if you were to actually live tweet the mediation, you might get sanctioned. That would be a very, very stupid idea. Even raising that idea was dumb, but not fatal or anything like that. But actually doing it might have caused her to really get in some trouble. Thank goodness she didn't do it, because I'm guessing someone told her, "You're an idiot. Shut up, you stupid, ugly idiot." So, as for the rest of it, there is no deal reached. This is kind of what everybody expected was going to happen, because, let's be honest, no parties, unless they think they're going to lose, or even have a chance of losing, are going to come into that mediation and actually reach a deal. Because the idea of, or I shouldn't say think they're going to lose, unless they think they don't have at least a decent chance of winning, they're not going to come into that mediation and say, yeah, we're looking to settle, right? If all the parties think they have a good chance of winning, then they're not going to make the concessions they need to. That's the whole purpose of mediation, is you're conceding various aspects of your case and various paths to remedy for some sort of resolution now. So here's the problem. Chup orders this mediation right after dismissing most, but not all, claims against Vic. So he hasn't dismissed 5 of the causes of action against Vic. Those 5 causes of action amount to something like 95% of the monetary action involved. The defamation is the bulk of the damages claim and the bulk of the monetary award for winning. All right. He didn't indicate how he might rule on the defamation. So he didn't give any parties any incentive. So he dismissed these things, which, okay, maybe that indicates a win towards the defendants, because he dismissed 12 of the 17 claims. If you look at it that way, sure, that's a win from the TCPA hearing. But he didn't go all the way, and he left ambiguous this thing and didn't indicate what he intended to do. Now, had he indicated to Vic, look, I intend to dismiss, or I'm inclined to dismiss all of your claims. I'm still writing my opinion. I haven't formalized it, but right now I'm leaning towards dismissing it. That would give Vic some incentive to go in to the mediation with a different sort of perspective. Maybe, okay, if I'm about to lose this and I have to consider only what happens if everything gets dismissed, and then I have to look at appeals and all of that, maybe I don't, maybe my case isn't as strong as I think it is. Or if he indicates to the defendants, look, I'm thinking about allowing these things to survive TCPA. Now they have to go, oh crap, if he allows us to survive on TCPA, now we have to appeal, they get to cross appeal, and then things could be brought back in, and maybe we have some incentive to close this out rather than go through this prolonged litigation process, and maybe that's what they want to do. He didn't do that. Okay, so everybody's going in there, and they're all thinking that their position is probably pretty solid. And I know some of you out there are going to criticize that statement of me saying, "Oh, Rekieta says Vic's position is solid, and he lost 12 claims." I'm going to get to that. What I can tell you with 100% certainty is that there's, well, I believe at least there's a fat idiot named Mark Whipple stream sniping me right now. and a bunch of law Twitter people ejaculating into their own mouths about whatever I'm going to say. And that tomorrow, no matter what I say today, the story will be the same. It doesn't matter. I could say that Vic is going to lose and kill himself. I could say that, and they would say that I'm trying to spin this in some sort of way. So with 100% certainty, I can tell you that these idiots are going to say whatever I say is some sort of spin or cope or something like that, some grift to keep something going. That's just inevitable at this point. These people are one tune. They're all moronic, and they're all stuck in this insular groupthink that pervades overly educated Nimrods. And there's no way to get around that. They've got a circle jerk. They ignore when they're wrong on aspects of the law. They ignore when they're wrong on facts. They ignore when they're short on facts because they have the backup of their academic colleagues. And as long as they have that little safety net, they will never have to have conviction of their opinion because their conviction comes from force of numbers. This is an obvious logical fallacy, but they're immune to the idea of fallacy, I guess. So with 100% certainty, I can tell you that I will be accused of spin and grift. So now that that's out of the way, let's spin and grift. The path for Vic looks pretty similar no matter what happens. It just does. If, and here's the big if Vic asks his attorney to do it. Attorneys don't act in a vacuum. We have to deal with clients. We have to deal with opposing parties. We have to deal with judges. We have to deal with all sorts of practical realities that don't exist on law exam questions for the academic attorneys out there, okay? So, if the judge dismisses all the claims, closes it out, says, you know what, the defamations, I'm dismissing those two. We close it out. Your case is dismissed. Well, then Vic will appeal. In a world without personal considerations, Vic will appeal. Will Vic actually appeal? That's up to Vic and his counsel and their discussions on it. I don't know. I'm not Vic's counsel. No matter how many people try to make me into Vic's counsel, I will never know the answer to that question until Vic and his counsel file something. But if I were Vic's counsel, I would suggest appealing that decision. And I think from an academic perspective, that makes pretty much the most sense. You go ahead and appeal. If you're ghosted on all claims, you're going to appeal them. One, here's the big one. Chup didn't do the hearing correctly. And that's not just me like dumping on Chup. That's pretty obvious from how the hearing proceeded. He did an evidentiary hearing without allowing the examination and cross-examination of witnesses, without having a jury, and in absence of his duty to not actually have an evidentiary hearing. The TCPA hearing is not an evidentiary hearing. You want to see some really smart cookies from Law Twitter, look at them suggest that if Vic was there, he could have cleared up these things by taking the stand. No, he couldn't. They didn't get to call witnesses. They wouldn't get to call Vic and examine and cross-examine him. They didn't get to call Marky or Monica or Toye or some idiot from Funimation. None of that would have happened because it's not actually an evidentiary hearing because it's not a trial. They don't get to take testimony. Also, discovery is stayed. That applies for the hearing as well. So, none of that gets to come into play. You don't get to compel parties to speak or even allow parties to speak. But that was one theory, that if Vic had showed up, he could just clear these things up. No, not true. But that said, that hearing was conducted in a manner where Judge Chup was weighing the validity of the evidence against other evidence while trying to determine if a prima facie case existed. That's not how that works. This is not an evidentiary standard. Prima facie isn't an evidentiary standard where you have to make a better case than them in some way. Prima facie is you just bring some evidence. So when Judge Chupp says, I don't like that evidence, or I want more evidence, or this thing, or he asks the other party about the quality of the evidence, he's already off the deep end. Two, there's some thought out there in some circles that maybe the TCPA was applied improperly to some of the causes of actions. And by that, I mean it's possible that the TCPA, and when I say possible, I mean there's an argument, okay? There's an argument to be made that the TCPA doesn't necessarily apply to some of the claims that were dismissed under the TCPA. The TCPA doesn't automatically apply to every cause of action. It doesn't. So some of the actions that occurred may not have actually been under the TCPA, but the hearing was conducted in a manner where its application to all of these things was a foregone conclusion. That's not how TCPA works. It's a preponderance of the evidence standard on every single cause of action. So that would be another reason to appeal. Another reason to appeal is because the way this is supposed to occur is what's in the record, not what's presented at the oral argument hearing. This is a distinction that many people misunderstand. First of all, you can think that Ty did a bad job, or you can think that Ty did a great job at that hearing. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is that that hearing is not where you present evidence. This is why it was so strange for Judge Chupp to issue all these rulings from the bench. Okay? It's not super strange to issue rulings from the bench, but Chupp seemed to be issuing rulings from the bench based on what was presented at this hearing, not what was in the record. Because, and I'm not really criticizing Chupp here, but he demonstrated an actual, first of all, an unfamiliarity with the record itself. Like, he's asking Ty to provide all of this evidence. Well, the judge does have a duty to familiarize himself with the record. He does. Now, they don't always do that. It doesn't always occur. And that's why typically they would hold off their rulings for a written order, where they do have a chance to reference the record, to review the filings, to look where the citations in the filings goes. Now, maybe Judge Chupp was absolutely livid at the filing that Ty made at the 11th hour, and he didn't want to do that. Fine, maybe that's what he did. But that is not actually how we apply the standard of whether the evidence existed. Okay? The oral argument transcript is one part of the clerk's record. The rest of the clerk's record is what was filed. What was filed and what applies at the time of the decision. Okay? So, Judge Chupp, for example, one example, dismissed out of hand Jamie Markey's defamation claim because Ty couldn't provide him a specific thing that he was asking for on the spot at the hearing. Again, criticize Ty and his team all you want for that. Here's the problem. That tweet that he was asking for was in the record. Not only was it in the record from Vic's counsel, it was in the record from Markey's counsel. It's part of Markey's filing, and he was arguing the statements of that tweet, which is improper, but he was doing that with Chupp. He was discussing that specific tweet with Chupp minutes before the dismissal. So, you've got a judge who did not familiarize himself with the record. Now, when you go to an appeal on a TCPA, the review is conducted what's called de novo, which means they ignore the ruling they're supposed to. They ostensibly ignore the ruling of the lower court, and they review everything in the record from nothing. And they determine what belonged in the record, what doesn't belong in the record, and then they can either remand it with instructions, so therefore it would kick back to Judge Chupp, or on some of these issues, they may actually be able to issue a ruling from the appeals court. They may be able to say, nope, this passes TCPA. It doesn't remand back to CHUP. This passes TCPA and proceed on these actions. Okay, so the appeals court can do that, I believe, on many, if not all of these things. That's part of the de novo review, and there's a lot of reasons to appeal based on that. So, winding back to where we were, if Vic gets ghosted on the rest of the defamation and conspiracy claims, in a wonderful, perfect world, he will appeal. That will, of course, be up to Vic and his counsel, because that means putting up an appeal bond, which we'll talk about in just a second, and then filing the appeal and proceeding on with litigation. Litigation that's already gone on for quite some time. What the appeal bond looks like, I wouldn't bring this up, except there's a fresh moron on Kiwi Farms who seems to be a law Twitter orbiter or fluffer or something, or maybe he's a lawyer, because again, the quality of their work has been suspicious at times. But he is out there saying Vic will have to put up the legal fees and sanctions for the defendants if he wants to appeal. That is not really true at all. Vic will have to post an appeal bond for the compensatory damages. That is pretty much restricted to the actual costs of filing the suit and any specific costs associated with service and filing. So you're talking likely less than, well, almost guaranteed less than $10,000, likely less than $5,000. You're talking about filing fees, which are a couple $100, motion filing fees, which might be, I don't know what they are in Texas. In Minnesota, filing a motion is $100 per motion. So you've got a couple different parties with a couple $100 per document, or per major motion. Not necessarily the supplements; those are typically cheaper. But you've got a couple sets of $100 charges, and then maybe some mailing fees. Right? You have to serve this on other parties, and there could be fees associated with that service. Talking less than 10 grand total. All the attorney's fees, all of the sanctions, those are outside of the compensatory damages. That's supported by endless amounts of case law. Anyone saying otherwise, frankly, doesn't know how this works. I've confirmed this with TCPA practitioners in Texas, and they'll just tell you, no, none of that is part of the appeal bond. The appeal bond just covers the actual cost when you're talking about defendants winning at TCPA. Okay, so is Vic going to have to put up an appeal bond for hundreds of thousands of dollars? No. The bond will be likely less than 10 grand, and it's pretty measurable. You could actually go do the math if you read the rules. So that said, that's not even considering what CHUP will actually award. Okay, so there's some seems to be some misunderstanding about how this works on a dismissal via TCPA. The statute says that the court must issue reasonable attorney's fees and sanctions. Okay, shall issue reasonable attorney's fees and sanctions. So they shall issue something. What that is subject to the reasonableness determined by the judge. And the judge's discretion to issue less than their attorney's fees is actually upheld by case law. So the judge does not have to issue the full amount of attorney's fees. He doesn't have to issue really any more than a nominal amount of attorney's fees, or he can issue a whole bunch of attorney's fees and a huge sanction. The spectrum of what CHUP can issue is broader than the spectrum of people on KickVic, right? The special spectrum that they're on. It's exceedingly broad. It could really be some sort of de minimis award to each defendant. $50, $100, $10, $1,000, all the way up to whatever their attorney's fees are. But Those attorney's fees are subject to argument, and the reasonableness aspect of them is open to argument, and their attorney's fees related to filing the TCPA. And there's case law out there, I believe, to suggest that someone running up TCPA, running up, I guess, costs in anticipation of a TCPA by maybe having depositions that they didn't necessarily need to have, for example, might not be considered part of the overall attorney's fees related to filing the TCPA. Or maybe filing of a motion that you did not actually ever intend to accomplish, which was served for the sole purpose of attempting to dox a Minnesota attorney, for example. That's not really related to their TCPA filing in any way, and they never pursued that motion and never set a hearing on it. So, arguing that Vic would have to pay for that motion, for example, there's a pretty strong argument that that's not related to the TCPA at all, and that was a bad faith filing for the sole purpose of driving up costs and attempting to award fees. So there's all sorts of stuff that can go into this. Anyone claiming they know how much the award would be for the defendants if Chupp dismisses everything is an idiot. They have no idea. They can't even form at this point a rational idea of what he would award. They can form a rational idea of what the defendants might ask for, because they're going to ask for the son, right? They'll ask for everything, total amount. You could do a calculation of how many hours you think it would take, what the rates are, and all of that stuff, and try and come up with a number, what they can ask for. Of course, Vic's attorneys would be able to argue against that and suggest that that's unreasonable or unrelated to the TCPA filing and hack it down. Of course, none of this matters. If the appeal goes through, all of that stuff gets put on hold. And there is no appeal bond or anything like that for that award, if that award's even done before the appeal is done. So all of that to say is that we don't know what Chupp will do on that aspect. And that's, again, only if we're still on the first scenario here where Chupp dismisses everything. Okay? But I want to put it out there. Here's the spin and the grift, all right? But this is also what Law Twitter isn't going to focus on. If Chupp dismisses everything, that's not really a big loss for Vic. I mean, ideally, of course, you would want the whole thing to pass TCPA. But where we are right now, 12 of the 15 claims have been dismissed. Many of them definitely improperly. We're talking about the tortious interference, obviously an improper dismissal. Conspiracy, I think, is an improper dismissal because there's a prima facie case right in Chuck Huber's affidavit for the conspiracy. Some people would disagree with me on that, and that's fine. And Chupp may disagree with me on that. But there are things that were definitely, and the defamation claim against Markey, I think, was improperly dismissed from a prima facie standpoint. I don't know if Vic will win on that, but a prima facie case, I think he made it. No problem. No problem at all. The judge even said at the hearing, these are fact questions. And Sam Johnson kind of agreed that, did he pull the hair or did he touch the hair? That's a fact question. Did he whisper in the ear at all? Was it sexual is an opinion, but did he whisper in her ear? That's a fact question. Did she shove him off of her? That's a fact question. Those things are knowable. Those are things that could be known, and those are things that could be disproven, yes or no. With an omniscient observer would know the answer to those questions, which means the parties know the answer to those questions. So Judge Chupp even said, these are fact questions. That means that statement alone was enough to say that if false, this is defamatory. If false, this is defamatory. So then, was it per se defamatory? Are there damages? All of that stuff. Was it made with actual malice? I think there's a prima facie case to say yes to all of that. Absolutely. So we know there are things that were dismissed improperly. So at this point, with 12 out of 17 things being dismissed and many things on the I guess course for appeal, if the judge dismisses everything, Vic can appeal everything tomorrow or the day after the filing. He could do that, right? So it's really not the worst thing in the world now if everything is dismissed. If any claims go forward, Vic doesn't get an automatic right to appeal now. He has to wait until the resolution of the case, or he has to wait for the defendants to appeal, and then he can cross appeal. So, or there's a third option where he can ask Judge Chupp for permission to take leave from the case to appeal, and then Judge Chupp has to either grant or deny that. So, at this point, if he dismisses everything, that's a clear path forward on appeal should Vic choose to do that. If he doesn't dismiss everything, things get more complicated. Now, obviously, that's a bad indication for the defendants. If he lets any of the defamation claims survive TCPA, all of the defendants, or any of the defendants who are still in, are screwed. They're screwed because they're on the hook for the discovery that they haven't complied with. And I have a feeling in Rial and Toye's case, that discovery stuff is going to come back and bite them very quickly. I mean, they made admissions that they provided stuff to their attorneys that the attorneys have not disclosed that was definitely within the scope of discovery. That's going to come back at them very quickly, I would assume. Funimation did not comply with discovery. They filed their TCPA with 1 or 2 days left to comply with discovery. They would have to comply with it very quickly. And I don't think Funimation wants discovery on this. And I have a feeling with all of the corporate shifting going on around Funimation, the discovery is going to be very interesting and potentially very embarrassing. And I bet Sony really doesn't want it to happen. Okay? I bet Sony really doesn't want discovery to go on for Funimation. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens if Judge Chupp decides to let that go through. So, the reason it becomes more complicated is because if those defamation claims go through, those parties have to determine what they want to do as far as appeals. They can appeal the survival of those defamation claims. They can do that straight away. But if they do that, Vic gets to appeal everything right away as well on cross appeal. That's a big thing to consider for them. If they're confident in winning the defamation case, or if they want to settle out the defamation case, they may not want to do an appeal. They may not want to, because that opens the door for bringing in these things that were probably improperly dismissed before. It would be a real shame if there was evidence out there specifically of Funimation contacting cons, for example, or Funimation agents. And I don't mean Ron Toye agents, I mean actual agents of Funimation contacting cons and suggesting that they not bring Vic Mignogna. That would be a real shame. Very, very, very interesting. Or if Funimation business partners maybe contacted cons and suggested not to bring Vic Mignogna. That would be a big problem for Funimation, for example, if that happened. So they may not want the appeals to be brought back. So they'd have to determine if they want to appeal this or if they think they could confidently win on the defamation without appealing at this time, or if they thought that they could confidently settle. That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. But either way, what we're left with is this cloud of ambiguity, because maybe Chupp ghosts Vic on everything and they can just go through the appeals process. I know what Ty would want to do is appeal immediately. Would want to appeal immediately, get that straight to the appeals court, and the real trial can begin, so to speak. Because what the rulings from the hearing are, there are some that are unquestionably improper, and that's the TI. And you know what's funny? I have a feeling that Rial and Toye and their counsel know that they should not have gotten out of that hearing with the TI, and I bet they're terrified of having that one appealed. Because they had them on TI. They didn't just have a prima facie case of TI against Toye and Real. They had a winning case against Real and Toye on TI. And they know it. They would have to get Slaytosh disqualified. Or they would have to get him on cross-exam, countering his own affidavit. They would have to do something like that in an egregious way to win that. It would be very, very difficult. So, we'll see. Here's the really weird possibility. Let's float this out there. Let's say, I think this is the worst case scenario for Vic. Okay? I'm going to put out the worst case scenario for Vic. Conspiracy gets dismissed between Real and Toye. For both of them. Defamation for Real gets dismissed. And defamation for Funimation gets dismissed. And defamation for Toye continues. I think that's the worst possible scenario for Vic. Personally. Because I think if that happens, Toye doesn't appeal. And I think he either goes on to win or lose on defamation. And he and Monica never get married and they keep their assets separate. And Funimation is insulated and it takes a really long time before they can appeal that TCPA. I think that's the worst case scenario. And I've heard rumblings about that being a possible scenario. But let me just suggest that if that turns out to be the scenario, there may be some improper things that have occurred. All right? I'm not going to get too deep into that at this point because it's too stupid to be true. It's too stupid to be true that Chup would dismiss everything except the defamation against Toye. And that he would be the fall guy for everything. That's too stupid to be true. It's also such a worst case scenario for Vic and such a best case scenario for all of the people who would be under Sony's umbrella that is just too stupid to occur. And I would think that at that point, there would be some really suspicious events that might lead to that outcome. But that's just me. That's just me. Okay? And interestingly, I have heard that might be the result. I don't know why I would hear that would be the result. But I've heard that might be the result. And it would be very, very interesting. But it can't be right. That cannot possibly be true. Because if it's true, reality is too stupid. And the parties involved are far too stupid for that to actually occur. Hey, give me just a second, guys. I'm hearing something weird. I gotta make sure my kids aren't having trouble. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm back. Sorry. Woo hoo hoo hoo. Okay. So, this is the wonders of coming back from vacation, is getting everybody, including the children, back in the rhythm of normal life. So, okay. Where was I? Let's okay, let's read a couple of these chats. Phoenix Lord Asserman says, Get Lady Racket's the new Jane Czar model and Phoenix Rising stuff when it comes out when you go army shopping. I think she might like Eldar. We'll see. Maybe she'll like Dark Eldar. That'd be interesting. Also, welcome back, Nick. You've been missed. Hey, thanks. It's great to be back. I missed you too. DNA Crows says, appeals happen. If it doesn't pass, okay. Either way, we're confirmed shenanigans and getting Vic canceled. Debunked dozens of lies. Funimation and the VAs have ruined their brands, and Vic is a hot commodity. Just saying. Yeah. I mean, honestly, yes. In many ways, that is true. Certainly, you don't want to be a hot commodity in this, but we are... we are... you guys, really, you guys out there have changed the trajectory of Vic's career. It was plummeting into the ground. You guys stood up and showed your support. That support has been monumental and honestly life-changing, maybe even life-saving. It's these people wanted him dead and to go away. They just wanted him to go away for a year or so. Just past the statute of limitations, right? Did you notice that? Well, if he just laid low for like a year or so, that's just past the time when he would be able to say, hey, wait a minute. And it's just long enough where his career would kind of go away and he'd just stay away from everything. And then when he tried to come back, they could restate the exact same things and not cause him new damage. Because he wouldn't have new contracts. He'd be trying to come back. They go away though, right? They always go away. They left Michael Jackson alone. They left everybody alone. They always leave people alone. People that they want dead. People that they want out. They just go away for a little bit. They're leaving Kevin Spacey alone, right? His career is booming right now. Right? He's in all sorts of shows. He's back on Suits now. Everything's fine. Or wait, not Suits. What was he in? Was it Suits? Whatever show it was. Louis C.K. Yeah, they leave him alone all the time. But anyway, sorry. Drax says, can the GoFundMe be used to fund the appeal bond? I mean, yeah, it could be used for whatever legal purposes Vic wants. And I'll address the GoFundMe in a little bit too, and just some of the stupidity out there from these very thorough and smart lawyers. If so, can defense fight that in any way? Also check your email, Boomer. I will check my email. The defense cannot fight how Vic funds his lawsuit, his appeals, or anything like that. But here's the reality. Even if the appeal bond couldn't be funded by the GoFundMe, I think Vic can probably put forward. So the way an appeal bond, a bond works is you put forth a small percentage of the overall thing, and you promise, you sign a guarantee or a security of some sort, security interest to the bond company to put up the rest of it. Okay, so if it's $5,000, you're probably paying $500 or less for that appeal bond. 10% or less. Now, criminal bond would be about 10%. If your civil bonds are lower than that. So they secure it with property. I don't think Vic would even need to use the GoFundMe, but maybe he would. I don't know. It depends on how much is in there and available. It depends on a whole lot of things. But we don't need to think that the GoFundMe is going to be the limiting factor on appeal. The appeal bond will certainly be something that someone in active litigation could cover. It's just going to be. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Can they fight it? Not very well, not very effectively. Obviously, they keep trying. So let's blow some minds here real quick. So Law Twitter they're stuck on the GoFundMe. They tell you. I called a fat lady from Law Twitter one of the orbiters, which is weird because they should be in orbit around her based on just relative mass. But I called a fat lady from Law Twitter fat today, and oh my God, they lost their minds. As if I don't insult these people constantly. But you call a fat chick fat, and they get really worked up about it. It's great. It's great. You can tell what bothers them. You can tell what bothers them. She's ugly too, guys. Just so you know, she's also hideous. So I hope that bothers you too. Be shamed for your body and face or whatever. Go for it. You guys do it all the time. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that that's one of their go-to insults of other people? They're a fat, smelly incel in their mom's basement. They're trying to paint a very specific physical picture that is it's shaming language of physical appearance. It's shaming language of personal success. It's shaming language of personal grooming. It's shaming language of mental development, social development, all of these things. They will shame people endlessly. But you call that fat, ugly cunt fat and ugly, and they lose their damn minds. It's great. Oh God, it makes me so happy because they can't see their own hypocrisy. They can't see it. They're so stupid that they can't see that she is fat and that is a fact. And that fact makes them mad because someone said it. I mean, never mind that they couldn't be in the same room with her without just covering their nose and averting their gaze. Oh God, it makes them so mad. So that said, while they're out there flipping out about all this stuff, okay, what they want to do is they keep trying to say that there's some impropriety in my referral of Vic to Ty, right? And that there's some sort of impropriety in me, quote unquote, steering GoFundMe funds towards Ty. Now, what they're missing from this equation is several things, but I'm going to give them a hint about one of them. Give them a hint about one of them very specifically. If Vic hired any other counsel on earth, if Vic had called up Greg Doucette and said, will you represent me? Guess where the GoFundMe money would go? To that person. Because the GoFundMe money isn't mine. And while I may have some level of control, I suppose, a practical level of control in that I need to tell GoFundMe as one of the account managers where to send the money. If I refused to provide the money to Vic, I don't get it. It doesn't go to my bank account. GoFundMe doesn't allow that. So if I were to try and steer this money somewhere else or exert influence over that, not only would I be at serious risk of a real ethics violation, I would be at risk of wire fraud. I would have breach of fiduciary duty for funds held in trust, and all sorts of problems that would rise up. If Vic had chosen anyone else on earth, I'm not steering the money towards Ty. I steer the money towards Vic's legal counsel, which is stated in the GoFundMe, by the way. And if he were to choose any other legal counsel on earth, I would steer the money immediately to that legal counsel. And Ty would have a duty to, after accounting for any funds that were billed, or anything that was billed in legitimate work that he did, Ty would then have a duty to provide the excess to that counsel, or he would be in breach of fiduciary duty, and he would be at risk of various levels of fraud or wire fraud or theft, like Michael Avenatti, for example. You don't get to take client funds and keep them for your own. It doesn't work that way unless you can justify the bill. So all of this stuff has one glaring problem with it. It's that Vic made a free choice to hire counsel, and I direct the money to counsel. I don't direct the money to any specific person. In fact, I don't have any decision-making ability over it. But they can't wrap their head around that because they're morons. This should be obvious, right? This should be obvious. GoFundMe actually doesn't let you do what they think I can do. It's almost like GoFundMe is a company that would be liable if they did allow that sort of activity to occur. And that would be very bad for them. That would be very, very bad for them. So, yeah. All right. Where were we? A couple more chats have come in. Oh, yeah, I was in the middle of reading them. Intimidator 0108 says, hey, Nick, how's it going tonight? Hey, buddy, good. Glad to hear that you had a good time at HawaiiCon. Now I'm playing on my new Yobo Gameware FC2 Slim that lets me play both old school Nintendo NES and SNES games. You know, I didn't bring it down, but I got something very similar at HawaiiCon. It's great. Figget Tree says, I need to go to bed, but first I must share something. I made the mistake of going to Dominique Sky's Instagram and saw her booty. It's fake AF, like Kardashian fake, which is fine, but it's like 2 basketballs shoved in a pillowcase. First of all, my son, go back and do penance and absolve yourself of those sins. Don't ever look at that heathen harlot. Oh, God. Imagine being married and yet relying on men not your husband to buy your nude photos. Dear Christ, that's a disaster. Phantom Cobra says, shout out to my friend Haley, who's trying to raise money to study abroad in Japan. GoFundMe is tagged as adventure-starts. So if you want to help out Haley and have help her study abroad in Japan, go check out the GoFundMe there. Piretta Riddle says, we love Vic as much as he loves us. Also, any of my personal Pensacola fam, we need to take down Mike Ensley. Ooh. Well, there you go. Pensacola fans, Piretta Riddle, they know. Is Mike Ensley the CEO of Pensacon? Is that chump? JXDBX says, hey, Nick, may I please get a stream on Gearbox and Randy and Valve versus composer of Duke Nukem, Bobby Prince, I think. By the way, different case against Randy got dismissed with non-disclosure agreement. Does this mean they settled? And Randy is unlikely pedo, has nothing to do with whether or not he's a pedo, but that would be a dismissal with NDA, probably means a settlement of some sort was reached. And I know there was a 2-part one that came in. It was 2 $10 ones, so I think that was intended to be a 20, so let me get to that. SJW Slayer Leo says, Nick, did you know you can report people on Twitter even on a suspended account? My account got suspended for calling half-inch cocklaw a bundle of sticks. Not the F word. I mean literally a bundle of sticks. So I used my suspended account to report him for asking a lady how many dicks she needed shoved in her face. He has not tweeted since, so his account must be locked. I won't stop till he is suspended. Well, go get him, buddy. JXDBX says, by the way, your hair looks gray now. You're welcome. That's because it's I showered off all of the travel. God, I hate flying on planes. And the plane from Hawaii to LA was like 90 degrees and it didn't cool down and I was dying. God, it was awful. So I had to take a nice shower and wash off the travel before the show. So that's just it's not gray, but with the red and the just, I guess, really clean look of it with no product in it or anything is that's how it looks. Okay. Where were we? All right. So here's let's recap. Let's get back into this and kind of recap the possibilities of what's happening. I think Chuck may issue his ruling tomorrow, but he may technically have until Monday. I say technically on Monday because I think his deadline falls on Saturday, which puts him in a weird position. I think he might want to avoid that weird position and rule tomorrow. I think he might also want to just get this dealt with. That said, I'm kind of expecting Chup to rule tomorrow. I don't know how he'll rule, but I know from an academic look at things, it doesn't really matter. If he dismisses everything, Vic should appeal. In my opinion, Vic should appeal. Whether or not Vic will appeal is up to him. But if he dismisses everything, Vic has we'll say it this way, Vic has the opportunity to appeal everything. If he doesn't dismiss things, the defendants will then have an opportunity to appeal, and if they take that opportunity, Vic will have the opportunity to cross appeal. I think it's probably likely that Chup will dismiss everything and just let it go straight to the appeals court and ignore the hubbub of preserving claims. I think that is the most likely outcome. I'm not saying that it's like 90% likely, but of the possibilities, I think it is the most likely to occur. Probably 50 to 60%, or maybe even a little more. I think that's the thing. So prepare yourselves for a couple things. One, if that happens, this is still just the beginning. The appeals process exists for a reason, and assuming Vic does go on to appeal, this still has quite a bit of stuff to go through. And I think there are some very, very valid claims that were dismissed improperly by Chup. There are several appeal points that exist from that hearing alone, much less when you get to the record. And I have a feeling Ty and his team have been working quite a bit on that appeal, and it should probably come fairly quickly. Technically, they would have 30 days from the ruling. Now, there's some weird discrepancy on whether they have 30 days from the hearing ruling, which would mean they'd have to appeal right away. I guess technically they would have until Monday to appeal those items. Or if they would have to wait until the written ruling, which would affirm those rulings from the bench. Now, before anybody jumps on me for this, the case law suggests that a ruling from the bench that is definitive and intended to be a clear ruling is in fact a ruling, and it technically should be from that date. But if you talk to practitioners, many of them would be kind of surprised hearing that a ruling from the bench is a binding ruling and it tolls the clock on the 30-day appeal window. Many practitioners would suggest that waiting for the written ruling, you would have 30 days to appeal from then. I don't think they should take any chances, so I'm hoping they would appeal anything that they need to appeal straight away. But it's kind of weird to have these lingering things out there which might need to be included in appeal, and then to have two sort of appeals things going, and especially because if he allows them to go forward, you can't appeal other things. So he left a lot of weird legal gray area in how he did the ruling. But either way, I would suspect we're going to see a motion to reconsider and or an appeal come down very quickly after the ruling. We'll see on that. There's a lot to do. But I think from a judicial efficiency standpoint, Chup might just say, everything's dismissed, deal with it on appeal. Because they do, like I said, it's a de novo review. They review everything and they review it kind of from the ground up. Now, there's a really low possibility, because it can't be this funny, can't be this ridiculous, that Judge Chup will dismiss everything except the defamation against Ron Toye. And I will suggest right now that if that happens, I'm going to say it again, that's very, very, very interesting if he were to dismiss everything except the defamation against Ron Toye. Especially at this stage. And the reason I say that is I've gotten indication that that's what's going to happen. But I'm being very clear here. I don't believe that source. And the reason I don't believe that source is because that is too stupid of a scenario to exist. We're not that far into clown world yet. But just know, if that happens, we're in clown world. So I think that's a 1% chance. I think that is the least likely outcome. I don't think that has anything. It can't be real. It just can't be real. But I'm going to say it. Just so you guys know. Because if I were to say it afterwards that, oh yeah, I got indication that this would occur, no one would believe me. It's a stupid outcome. And it's stupid for reasons I'm not going to say on stream, because if I say them, that gives credibility to how stupid that possibility is. Just putting it out there and letting you know that if that specific thing occurs, I'm calling shenanigans right now. Okay? I don't think that's likely. I put that in the 1% or less category. Most likely, everything's dismissed. And then Vic gets to go on an appeal, and we get to deal with the record as it is, and we get to clear up all the confusion about what gets in and what gets out, and all of that stuff gets to be argued in front of an appeals court. Okay? Now, the other option, the less likely option, is that some or all of the remaining charges proceed past TCPA. Now, I think personally that the defamation against Toye, Rial, and Chup all have sufficient prima facie showing to pass TCPA, and the conspiracy between Rial and Toye. I think all 5 remaining claims, there's been a sufficient prima facie showing, not only on the record, but also in the hearing. In the hearing alone and on the record in total, that I think that there's sufficient grounds to allow all of those causes of action to proceed. And I give that a decent chance, but I think it is the minority chance of what's going to happen. So if that happens, it'll be up to what the defendants do as to how the appeals process takes shape. So we'll have to see. But that's what we're going to see either tomorrow or Monday from Judge Chup. I think it's going to be tomorrow. I think Chup's ruling will come down tomorrow, because I don't think he wants to leave the ambiguity of not ruling within 30 days on the table. I don't think he wants to deal with that. It'd be very, very weird for him to rule on Monday and then give them an appealable argument saying that he didn't rule in time or whatever, because I believe the deadline is Saturday. Now, if I'm wrong on the deadline calculation because it's been a while and my brain hurts, then that doesn't apply. But I believe even Chup acknowledged that he would have to rule on Friday. So I think we're going to see it Friday. Yeah. So we'll see. I do intend to have Ty come on the show, maybe even as early as tomorrow night, to talk about what's going on and what their next steps are. So if you guys have been looking forward to Ty popping back up on the show, that will probably happen tomorrow night or sometime early next week. We'll see how it goes. I guess it kind of depends on what happens tomorrow. I think the other thing to expect, as I said before, is a filing of some sort from Vic's team, either an appeal or a motion to reconsider in the next either Friday or Monday as well, because they're under kind of that same 30-day sort of guideline on an appeal. Motion to reconsider is not, there's not really a definitive guideline on when that starts. It's not specifically in the rules, but I guess best practices would suggest within 30 days of a ruling, and those rulings from the bench, you would want to ask right away for the motion to reconsider. So we'll see. Pyretta Riddle says, yes, Mike Ensley threatens to call the police on Vic if he showed up in Pensacola, and my once good friend Lemmy is a cuck as well. Oh my goodness. Archangel Nishan says, hey Nick, glad to hear you enjoyed the con. So would you at some point be able to clarify what happened with Sup Motto as someone who barely kept up the story other than hearing about his YouTube getting struck to oblivion? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he could come on my show and talk about it. I don't know much about it. Drock says, so hypothetical question, if appeal goes through and case goes back to Chup, could Ty make an argument for a new judge due to Chup's weird rulings? Unlikely, unless some new information came out. So that's where we are on that. What else was I going to talk about? What else was I going to talk about? Let me check the description. I said stuff in the description that matters. Oh, no, not the description. Maybe it was a tweet. Let me check the tweet. Checking my own Twitter, y'all. I'm too boomer for my own memory. Oh, another thing that I'll probably be discussing at some point is Amber Geiger. You don't know who Amber Geiger is? She is the police officer. She's a police officer down in Dallas who... Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. I got it. She's a police officer down in Dallas who walked into someone else's apartment and shot him. He happened to be a black man. She was a white female cop. There's a big controversy. She has been found guilty of murder. She has been sentenced to 10 years in prison, and probably not the Cinemax prison for ladies, but the real prison for ladies. And so that has happened. There was a moment where his brother embraced her. The dead man's brother embraced her and forgave her in the courthouse, which I'm going to assume that played into the 10 years sentence. If the family had victim impact statements, make a big deal in sentencing. So I haven't read through it all yet, though, to see if there's anything about that. But if the family was forgiving, if the family was willing to kind of cope with everything, and now the family may be setting up a wrongful death claim against the city, and by playing nice with the officer who shot their family member, maybe looking to not anger the court or draw media circus, but simply carry on with their claim. Maybe that's part of the plan. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. So I'm going to try and find out as much information about that case, and maybe we'll do a full recap of it sometime soon, because it is a fascinating case. Some of the blunders of the police department in the investigatory process, at least what I would call blunders, like letting her move out of her apartment without ever searching it, that type of stuff, seem to be real problems. And I'm curious to know what all happened and what went into that ruling. So we'll have that coming up. Let's talk really quickly about let's talk really quickly about reflection physics. Okay? Do you guys know how reflections work? Do I have a reflective surface? I can't even know if I have one handy. I don't have my sunglasses with me. They're in my car. All right. Here's how reflections work. Reflections, when you're wearing sunglasses, reflections reflect what you're looking at, right? Or maybe they've got a little bit of they're a little bit convex, right? So they reflect a slightly wider area than where your eyes might be focused. That's how reflections work. Now, I took should we get this picture pulled up? Let me talk about this. This is more me glomping on HawaiiCon being such a fun sort of thing. But there is very little that, like, I just do not, I don't expect the stupidity. I know you guys would tell me to expect the stupidity always, I'm guessing, but I don't always expect it, because like some things just aren't you can't buy the stupid. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Here, let's this work? No, it's not working. Perfect. Oh wait, it did work. There we go. Okay, so you guys can see this, right? Here we've got me, and I am taking a picture. I'm taking a picture of let's read my here's my words. Down at the bottom, can you guys see that? Yeah. Reporting from HawaiiCon. Vic has the first signing line ever in HawaiiCon history. They've had signings, but never a line. Okay? This is from the con owner. Con owner saying we've never had a line before, right? Now, so here's Vic behind me. Okay? Behind me is Vic and this group of people. There are 5 people here. There are actually more people behind me. Not a ton. This is a low attendance convention. This is a con on the Big Island of Hawaii. It is not highly populated. It is in many ways it's a young con. This is not in Honolulu, a city of 2 million people, right? This is in a town of 5 figures. 5 figures. Probably in the low 5 figures. Down where this convention is taking place. This convention severely impacts the population of the town because of the people coming in. Like, it's a noticeable amount, right? So, you've got the 5 people here. You got a couple more people behind me. Not a lot. Never did I say that, by the way. But if you look in my glasses, okay, maybe, I don't know if I can zoom in. Can I zoom and enhance? I don't think it's going to make the picture bigger. Whoa! It won't, will it? It won't make the picture bigger. But if you pay attention to this lens here, this is the one that some people are focusing on. These are the other signing tables. Now, I haven't mentioned until now who's in the other signing tables, because I don't want the idea that Vic having a line, which is really rare for HawaiiCon, like it doesn't happen, to reflect on the fact that the other people didn't have a line, because not having a line is normal, okay? But in order, closest person, actually I don't know if they're reflected in my sunglasses, would be right next to Vic, is Eddie McClintock, a TV celebrity, like I said, one of the stars of Warehouse 13. He's right next to Vic. I think the first person you might be able to see in my glasses here would be Mindy Sterling's table. Right there. Okay? So this person is at Mindy Sterling's table. The next person is John Rice Davies. So Gimli, at this point in the convention, has one person at the table. There's no line for Gimli. Right? And then I don't actually remember who was next to Gimli. Okay? So these are like there's no line in my glasses here, and if Eddie's next to Vic, you'd probably see some people in my glasses if he had a line, and he didn't. They all did, fine at the convention. I think actually the turnout for the celebrities was very good, and this particular reflection in my glasses is in no way reflective of how they did during the con. You don't go to HawaiiCon as a guest to make a pile of cash. That's not the point of it. Again, that whole aloha spirit thing, even the idea of paying for autographs is still a little weird at HawaiiCon. Like that's a thing they've had to kind of introduce culturally on that island. Honolulu, KawaiiCon is different, right? These are different animals altogether. So, but I just want to point out that Vic having 7 10 people in a line, however many it actually was. I don't remember. That, again, in the glasses are Mindy Sterling and John Rice Davies. Like, this is a big thing. And like I said, they had, the way HawaiiCon tends to work out is you have a steady flow of people while you're there signing. You have like one person at your table at a time, maybe two, because you don't need to stand in a huge line. You don't have to do it. You can just wait a few minutes and go look at the cosplayers, or you can wait a few minutes and go look at the vendor tables or buy some comic books or something like that, or go to a panel and come back. You don't have to do it. So this is just a fun little thing. They had a line. It's really, really rare for them to have. And so I reported on it because it was fun seeing that happen for Vic. Very cool. A bunch of people don't understand that your glasses reflect what's facing you. And they suggested that I was somehow showing Vic with an empty table in my glasses. No, you morons. Come to HawaiiCon and go to the panel by one of the physicists, and they'll help you understand how reflecting works. Or one of the astrophysicists who use one of the big giant telescopes which have giant mirrors on them. They can all teach you how basic light reflection works. So there you go. But it really was a great con. It was a ton of fun. It's fantastic. So that's all I wanted to do. Kind of just point out how stupid that whole thing was. Hey, what's up, Ethan? I see you in the chat, buddy. All right. So I don't know why it's breaking. My Stream Deck is just wonderful, wonderfully broken. Pay no attention to the black screen. It's just me in cosplay or whatever. Okay. Let me I guess we can start to wrap it up here. I think this is a good point in the stream to wrap up what's happening. Let me recap this very, very quickly. I'm going to recap through the things. HawaiiCon was great. Made great connections. Let me tell you some of the connections I hope to get on the show very soon. Okay? HawaiiCon owners who are scientists. They're in the science world. They're also engaged in geek or nerd fandom that spans sci-fi, spans tabletop gaming, that spans video games, that spans anime and comics. All of that is wrapped up kind of in a package, and they're great. I hope to get at least one, if not more than one of them on, because they put on a really good show, and they're also fantastically interesting people who happen to be experts in various fields. Other people I hope to get on. Mikkel. Many of you probably watch Mikkel's videos. If you don't, go watch Mikkel's videos. He's done excellent work interviewing voice actors and having access to people that wouldn't talk to me. Mikkel is very cool. So go, Mikkel Casanova. Go check him out. I'm going to hopefully have him on the show. Wonderful guy. Love talking to him and spending time with him. Amazing Lucas. I hope to swindle him into coming on the stream. He wasn't at HawaiiCon, but someone helped me make the connection to him, and I'm going to try and get him on the show sometime very soon. Also, this one is not from HawaiiCon. This is unrelated, but I'm going to reach out to Jeremy Hambley. I know some of you like him, some of you don't, but either way, regardless of how you feel about him personally, Jeremy Hambley is intertwined in the gaming community, and there is some funny gaming news with a very, very woke employee of a very woke company getting very wokely accused of some misconduct by someone who appears to accuse a lot of people. So we're gonna, and it's a name, the accuser is a name you know and love, and so we're gonna find out what happens. I'm gonna see if Hambley knows about this story, hopefully very soon, and hopefully he can give me some insight, because I'm only on the periphery of the gaming community, although I did make some interesting connections at HawaiiCon that I hope to kind of foster and grow relationships there that'll hopefully bring you guys interesting content from that sort of realm of fandom. So, but someone has been accused. We'll have to see if their very woke company severs ties with their very woke employee because of their very woke accuser. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's going to be funny. I don't know if Hambly even knows about the story or not, but I'm gonna run it by him. And maybe he'll come on the show and talk for a little bit about it, and we can have a laugh, because we've been trying to do some sort of collaboration for a while now, and this might be a good topic. That said, back to HawaiiCon, other people I want to have on the show. I mentioned Amazing Lucas. I mentioned Mikel Casanova. Those are YouTube personalities. Another personality I had is a guy named Greg. He is a philosophy professor and a philosophy scholar, and he kind of covers pop culture. So I hope we can get some interesting. When I say pop culture, I mean a lot of his focus has been in the sci-fi sort of community with Star Wars, Star Trek, and stuff like that. It might be an interesting non-legal discussion, but a discussion about ethics, a discussion about philosophy, and why we go back to these stories, why we like these stories, why these stories mean different things, and also how what I want to start asking him are questions about why people are reacting in various ways in the fan community that's more relevant to what like Vic's situation and others. But he's a very nice guy. Had some good conversation with him, and I hope to foster that and bring you a good show out of it. We're going to have the Second Amendment attorney on very soon, hopefully. She is dealing with red flag laws, which are red flag protective orders that involve gun owners being accused down in Florida. And so we'll see how those things are playing out in the real world. You know, I am very firmly opposed to red flag laws. I think they set up a bad ability. I think they set up a bad ability for people to abuse a system and get people's rights revoked without proper protections. But maybe I'm wrong. Have Star Wars girl on your show? Maybe. I'll think about that and talk about that going forward. And then as far as there's another guy who's very much involved in his name is John. He's a geologist. Well, he's not really a geologist. He's a botanist, but he's also an expert in how volcanoes, specifically Hawaiian volcanoes, perform. I did spend time out on the fresh new part of Hawaii. That's a bunch of lava. I got to spend a lot of time out there with John as a tour guide. We got to go on some private property, stuff that you can't go see on normal tours, which was fantastic. And just see like how it changed people's lives, how it changed the landscape. But there are various legal issues that have come up in the wake of this. And I'm hoping John, as someone who is an expert on how the volcano eruption in 2018 impacted the Big Island of Hawaii, I'm hoping that he can bring some interesting legal issues that we can explore and also kind of just discuss the volcano stuff, because it's really, really kind of fascinating, all of this stuff. And it does present new issues. Like, for example, let's say you owned an acre of land on the coast, right? And then a volcanic flow comes in and creates a new acre of land, and your land is no longer on the coast. That's a pretty weird legal issue, right? Your land has just lost pretty much all of its value. Your land might be covered by volcanic rock, might not. The volcano could have come down and then gone around your land, but the value of being on the coast is now gone. It has redone the landscape. All of these issues are very strange, and so might have John on around that as well. You may know John if you were following the volcanic eruption. He was actually live streaming, working with, I think, USGS on daily updates of the eruption. So he's pretty cool. The Dragon Con owner thing, I'm going to see if I can get more information about him. I met someone who knows him personally, so I'm very interested to maybe get a little information about that, but we will probably be covering that very soon. So, Siren Jag, no, you do not have extra land. That's the problem. But anyway, and then finally, as a final recap of upcoming guests, I believe Ty will be on the show, maybe even as early as tomorrow night. We'll talk about that coming up really soon. So that's the recap of that. Again, HawaiiCon was phenomenal. You guys should really consider going next year. If you like going to cons, I guess start saving now, but wait for the guest list. When the guest list comes out, if there are people you want to see that you haven't had an opportunity to see in a really personal and intimate way, go. You may never get another opportunity like it at any other conventions. There's an to me, unprecedented level of access to these people, not in the form of a line that you wait in and then go have a talk and a photo op, but in a real way to connect with these people and learn about their lives in a candid and intimate setting. And it's really cool. Really cool. Here, someone sent me this, by the way. Look at this. Now, see, this is a stunning line, a stunning and brave line. And this is not at HawaiiCon. Look at the rampaging amount of people available. We've got 27th Bulma here with one guy in line here, and Jamie Markey rocking a line so infinite that you can't even fathom how many people are in it. If you divided by the number of people in Jamie Markey's line, you would go directly to Greenland in Minecraft. That's what would happen to you. So there you go. That's that. So remember, all of these people making fun of the fact that Vic had the first line ever at HawaiiCon, they're supporting that thing. That thing. Can't see the end of that line. That's true. That's true. Where are all their loyal soy boys? Isn't that the question on all of this stuff? You guys have all the support in the world. Where are they? Do they come buy tickets? Do they come pay for autographs? Do they come even morally support you? Or do they just sit behind a keyboard on Twitter? I don't know. Anyway. Oh my gosh. That was from the Texan 83, says they want to compare lines. Check your DMs. I just linked you a tweet. It is magical. A magical tweet. Okay. All right, we're going to get to this part of the show here. So before you buzz out, and I know many of you are going to leave, that's great. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out and supporting me as I come back from a long trip and a long absence. It's very, very encouraging to see you guys come back to the stream. That's always an apprehension when you leave from YouTube for a little bit and then come back, is that, will people see your notification? Will people be available and all that stuff? So you guys have made me feel great and wonderful. I'm so happy to be back and talking to you. Tomorrow there will be a show. There will probably be shows through the weekend because I didn't stream during the week, obviously, as much as normal, but only if there's content to deliver. And I think we've got no shortage of things to catch up on. So we'll be doing that soon. Oh, also a big brain panel is coming as soon as I can set it up. As soon as I can set up a big brain panel, and then I would love to do another Chad Dad stream at some point soon. But a big brain panel is next on the special show agenda, and I will have that on as soon as possible. We are about to read through the super chat, so if you do depart during this time, thank you. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow or whenever you watch next. I'm going to read through super chats. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to grab a snack, and then we're going to be back for a little bit of Twitch. We're going to be back for a little bit of Twitch. So if you do have questions that you weren't able to ask during the show, because you can't afford a super chat or whatever, which is perfectly fine. and I fully understand it. Come to Twitch. You can ask for free, hang out, enjoy some vidya, and have some fun. Great small group of people love to hang out on Twitch and make a really interesting chat. You guys are the best chat. Oh, BoomerCon, those updates are coming. BoomerCon is moving towards a reality. What I have to figure out, here's what I need. Here are my go-tos on BoomerCon. I've got to get a venue with a spine and a rock-solid contract. The other thing I need to do is fund it, because I want to bring you guys a great guest list, and I'm thinking how I'm going to fund it is probably some sort of Indiegogo that will allow the facilitation of pre-ticket sales. We're not going to do a GoFundMe with like a just help me raise money. I'm going to give you something for any money that gets contributed. I have to work out the math, and I'm working with people who do this. I'm working with people who put on cons. I'm not going to go into this thing blind and amateur. I'm going to bring in people who do this stuff, and we're going to figure out a model to make sure we have the capital available to bring great people to the show, people that you can't find in other places. That's the goal. That's the goal. People who maybe can't go to any other con for various reasons because they're just not PC enough or whatever. We're going to bring them in one place, but because of that, I've got to have a venue that will back me up when those emails roll in. And I'm already figuring out the contract, and the contract must have liquidated damages where they can't just cancel on us. So we're going to do that in that way, but I'm going to get you a show that I can guarantee will happen with about as much certainty as possible. I'm not going to put it out there until it's ready to go. If it means 2021 is the date, early 2021, then so be it. I'm going to shoot for next year, but I'm not going to put together something that's a hack job. We're going to put together a good show that people want to see with people you can't find. So that's going to be the goal. So I've got lots of resources that I've been mingling with, and believe me, we're gonna try and put together a great show for you. So more of that will come as more of that is worked out. The fly is back. Oh my god. The more availability we have, the more will be revealed. But I'm not gonna just like tease a bunch of updates and stuff like that and then put together some phantom project. I'm not what, Zoe Quinn or whatever. If I'm putting together something, and if we get to the point where I can start asking for money for it, it will be because there's a product that is going to be delivered. I'm a capitalist, but I'm a good one. So that's where BoomerCon's update is. So that said, I will talk about it more as things start coming together, but the timeline on this is going to be stretched out as we really put forth an actual business model and business plan for bringing you a great show. So that said, let's get into the Justice Chats and Super Chats. We'll start with the Justice Chats. We'll move into the Super Chats that were sub $20, and then come visit me on Twitch in a little while. It's probably going to take about 30 minutes to get through these chats, maybe a bit longer. So anyway, if you leave now, peace. Otherwise, let's do it. We've got S Cybertaz says Nick's face is toasted, and that did come with a toast mask. That it is. And to be clear, the lava did not burn me. It was the sun. The lava, there's no, this is actually the first time in a very long time, there's no visible lava on the surface of the Big Island right now. It's all solid, right? And there's no surface glowing lava anywhere. I hate flies. Man, I hate them. No, I didn't get him. I thought I did. All right. But no, it was just being out on that lava. There's no trees, right? There's no shade. That's what I meant by being out on the lava. Okay. Mercenary X says, hey, Nick, check out the channel Apollo Legend. It's talking about Billy Mitchell, the guy who supposedly is famous for Donkey Kong and the King of Kong movie, on how he is suing everyone and false copywriting everyone over him getting caught cheating. Continue. Apparently, Billy Mitchell and Walter, the guy who used to own the Twin Galaxy, have been caught cheating on the numbers, and it's getting actually bad to the point where lawsuits are being threatened on both sides. Getting very interesting. Please cover. I will look into it. S. Cybertaz says, Nick in the heat. This is fine. This is fine. Hellsnake says, Vic will win this one way or another, and Nick will slay the Doom guy. Bunch of okay signs, and says, this is also for the ADL. Go F yourself, ADL. So, and then more of those. So I don't know if he means like okay or if he means screw you. Jif Seth says, really like these streams. Had some talk with people about the Vic situation. Most of them don't even know about it or not into anime. And the thing, they think it's BS for what is happening to this guy. It also helps to explain some legal stuff. Yeah, man. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm gonna try and get a person with a little different perspective on this. He's what some may consider a suit and tie professional, and he had some interesting perspective on how this matters to independent contractors outside of the anime world and in the world of more traditional business lines, and why this type of situation has been so terrifying for a lot of people out there. So it'll be a little bit different perspective. I'm going to try and get that person on the show as well, if they're willing to come on and give that perspective. They've been constructively critical of some of the commentary and leaving out sort of that aspect of it. And when I read their perspective, I was fascinated by their take on it, and I definitely want to talk to them more. So that's another potential guest that could be coming soon, as soon as I can connect with them. Commissar Fuqua says, I just want to say that Thomas Royloop is a worthless incel cuck whose father should have pulled out sooner so many years ago. Wow, poor Thomas. Short Round says, been a while. Hey, what's up, Short Round? Thoughts and prayers to my boys in the 25th Infantry. 22 people injured in a bad parachute jump. Bad police advice. Saying you don't even do drugs with a needle still in your arm is kind of a giveaway. Hashtag hose mad. Hose mad for sure. Gonna get this fly. This is like the turbo fly. I hate it. Okay, on to the super chats. Mario Carter 13 says, yes, Queen, slay God Emperor Trump's Space Force. The Historian says, NBA whines like a teenage girl. I said it on my stream yesterday, and I'll repeat it. This applies to the next super chat as well. NBA's whining and crying about stuff is beneath my interest. I'm no longer concerned. People send me stuff about what NBA says or does, and NBA is going to say and do whatever gets his channel the drama clicks that he's looking for, and that's fine. But I am no longer interested in what NBA has to say about anyone, myself included. So that is, he's going to do what he's going to do, and you guys can make up your own minds on that. Super Saiyan for Trump says, I hear NBA is a closeted gay man. Is this true? I don't know, but he certainly has a lot of opinions on it, despite me never even caring if that was true or not. So you can have that. What's up, Ty Beard? Your money's on the fly? I think that's the smart money. Hold on. Rick Nikita says, gray hair. It's not gray, it's light brown. Stephen Sanderson says, it was awesome to meet you at HawaiiCon, plus doing the Manta Ray tour with you and Vic. Wish they didn't touch me. Also, may I DM you for advice? Yeah, man. Go ahead. And thanks for reaching out, buddy. Talbot Link says, spoke with Phil on Wednesday. He's all set to talk. Yes, I need to get Phil on the show. Phil is the dollhouse guy. I think he owns like a sex doll brothel. I'm off to bed. Fun with a VA clinic tomorrow. Hope the show goes well. I'll catch the replay. Yes, I definitely need to speak with Phil. I'm fascinated by the sex doll issue. and why sex doll brothels are illegal and all of that stuff, and how that impacts a new niche industry. Beth K 2012 says, thanks for being you and standing up for Vic. As a very loyal fan, the rift in the community has broken my heart. Knowing you and others are doing all they can keeps me going. Wish I could give more. Well, everything you do give is appreciated, and your support is what really matters. Stick up for what you believe in and stick by the people who you believe in. Timothy Reaper says, hashtag redface lawyer. Scott E. Wolfrey says, timestamper here. I'm much healthier now and ready. Awesome, buddy. I'm glad you're healthy. Great to hear. Super Saiyan for Trump says, NBA said nobody sucks him like Senpai is home. Wow. I don't know if he said that, but if he did, big news. Big if true. Texan83 says, but why does your hair look like it has more gray? It's probably just contrasting with the red. Frankly. Or maybe I'm getting old. That's possible. Armchair Warlord says, can you assert in REM jurisdiction in Minecraft? Yes. Actually, maybe. Wouldn't that be really interesting? We'll have to talk about what in rem and in personam jurisdictions mean, but in rem is basically a property jurisdiction that courts can assert. That would be very interesting to see how that would work with digital property. Maybe I can find a specialist on that. That's a fascinating question. Cass Michael says, read my Facebook DM from my alt. Boomer, love you. Will do, buddy. Kilroy was here, says, have you ever heard Vic's I'm a Believer parody song he did 12 plus years ago about the West Nile mosquitoes? I think this might be personal for Lemoyne. I haven't listened to it. I know I need to, but I haven't. DCV Titan says, Nick, you looking a little red. Hot vault or too much Hawaiian sun? The latter. Also, good to have you back. It's been boring without you. Well, my apologies, but I am back for quite a while now. Salty Fish says, does that mean you say no, ma'am, Nick? I do say no, ma'am. I do. Andrew War Snowboard says, any word on litigation re Dragon Con CP owner? Only whatever you've seen in the news, but I'll see if I can find more information about it. JT Drew says, spent too much on Johnny Walker 18 year. Here's $2. Hey, buddy. Never, always the whiskey. James Cat says, welcome back, Mr. Tom A. Toe. Or is just Nick? It's just Nick. I got very funny. Very funny. Don't hurt my feelings, please. Bad Dragonite says, hey, great to have you back, Nick. Hey, great to be back, buddy. Kalinka Pavlova says, who is John Rice Davies? I only know John Rhys Davies. I don't know how to pronounce his very British name, okay? I don't know. Aaron Verkin says, Rob Sawyer is a great guy, and John Rhys Davies was also in two Indiana Jones films. He was, and he's very funny. Very, very interesting guy. Really fantastic. TLJ Screwjob says, wow, Nick, didn't know Gondor used you to call for aid. You calling me flaming? Flaming pile of bundle of sticks? Gladiator says, I bet NBA took it in the butt while he was in jail. Wow. Salty, strong words from the chat on NBA. I think he denied those allegations when he was on the show, but you'd have to go back and watch. Salty Pickle says, remember to eat the babies. Did you guys see that at that AOC event, the lady saying, you have to eat the babies, or the global warming will get you? Very weird. Fluffy Side Up says, you need a mug/shirt with Doucette that says 99 problems, but a son ain't one. Oh my God. Oh, Asphyxiation says, mate, you missed Corinne getting interviewed by Chris Hansen for reasons that led me to believe Chris Hansen is a master troll. That's a guy I would love to get on the show. Chris Hansen. Holy cat. Strider Volcane says, keep calm and support Vic. Kalinka Pavlova says, Polynesians hug people. Shocked Pikachu face. Yes, they do. They do. Esme Illis Anime says, Nick, you were missed. Take the banana stand money. Thank you, Esme. Drax says, just sent you the email, Nick. I'll get it taken care of. Thank you. The Pie Baker says, hey, Nick, how does an 8-hour mediation compare to the norm? By the way, you got a justice chat that's a week stale. Might want to get that. I do? Where is that? Is it, oh, from the Pie Baker. Here we go. This is a justice chat sent by the Pie Baker. It says, breaking news, that deadbeat rapper Snitch just fingered Vic Mignogna for being responsible for starting an organized crime ring with the diabolical act of a single solicited hug. More tonight whenever this grifting boomer shanes his stream. Oh, you sent that, and then I wasn't on. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, so you're talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine singing to the state about everything, I'm guessing. So that's pretty interesting. Gladiator says, I bet NBA got a prime facial in prison. Chris Lemon says, duty sounds like work. Chup ain't going to have anything to do with that. Gladiator says, NBA should Minecraft himself. Wow. Bisman resident says, Tarrant County courts also let that affluenza kid Ethan Couch off the hook for killing 4 people and injuring 8 others while DUI in 2013. Nathan Poudrier says, just joined the stream. What did I miss? Everything. Nixx says, Doug TeNapel was on the Babylon Bee podcast last week. One of the co-hosts said, I don't remember, and Doug responded with a soy-drenched, I do not recall. I almost spat out my water. Oh, good job, Doug. Blacklist Universe says, Nick, tag me in if you want to talk about Kickstarter later. Sure, buddy. Not tonight, but yes, I'll look you up. Super Range 128 says, if Lady Rackets were an anime girl, would she be the nice girl, tomboy, shy girl, tsundere, angry, kundere, emotionless, or yandere, stalker? Nice girl. Always. Lady Rackets is the nicest of girls. Fluffy Side Up says, did you see my tweet to you and Ty about the Texas Supreme Court overturning the appeals court on TCPA with rational inference is a prima facie case? Nope. I didn't see it at all. Dice David says, I love this reboot of Castaway. Wilson! No! Jake CB says, speaking of peeling, how's that sunburn? Rude. I'm hoping it'll turn into a nice tan. I also need to go shirtless and match and get some matching sun on the rest of my body. JXDBX says, by the way, your hair looks gray now. You're welcome. Thank you. Jurel Navarro says, since Duchette never took or possibly intended to take the Texas bar exam, wouldn't that mean he committed wire fraud? What if he never actually got the CPAP either? I don't think he was raising money to take the bar exam. He was raising money to be admitted without taking the bar exam, which you can do if you have met certain requirements. You don't always have to take the bar exam. But it is curious that he's not admitted yet. Maybe the admission ceremony hasn't occurred. We'll have to see. He always gives an accounting of where the money goes, so, it'll be fine. Kakalo Tuzaru, says, hey there, Nick. How's it going? Glad to have the Lord of all boomers back. Hey, buddy. It's going great. Glad to be back. Finfrog says, funny money for funny stream. Oink, oink, ree, honk, 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 society. Comic-Con Freak says, was hoping for better Vic news on my birthday today. Hopefully things fall in Vic favor in the future. Really, I don't know. The news isn't bad. Like, mediation not working isn't a surprise. I guess it would have been lovely if everybody said, let's settle and I'll apologize to Vic and give him money and hookers and Lamborghinis or whatever. That would have been great, but it was really an unlikely thing to happen the way Judge Chupp kind of left it. So it's not bad news. It's just news. Sergeant McSalty says, Nick, quote, we're not that far into clown world yet. Chup, quote, honk honk bitches. The Anime Collector says, can you shill Cody's Indiegogo campaign? Maybe. I'll have to look it up and actually maybe talk about it on an upcoming stream. I'm not going to do it now when the population of the stream is down so low, but I'll take a peek. Siren Jag says, what happened with Crazy Lady and her PRB complaint? I'm waiting on the that's Lore, mother of Lily Jean. I'm waiting on that appeal to go through. They have the appeal process tends to take like 30 days. So they have appealed it. I assume nothing will become of it. But I also assume they will be furiously supplementing it because I read their appeal online, which they said was a hostile act. But okay, we'll see. Bad Vibe says, covering Dragon Con co-founder cases. Yes, I will be looking into that. Takaki Onsai says, you are no longer blackface lawyer. From this day on, you are now redskin lawyer, expert in volcano law. Question, ring thrown in lava. Who owns it? The Earth. Or Mordor or whatever. D-Man Dog 056 says, will Vic be at BoomerCon? I don't know who will be at BoomerCon yet. We don't have contracts signed by anybody. I've got some soft yeses from people, but I'm not going to announce people specifically until I can bring you a solidified guest list. Asia Frazier says, welcome back. Been going through boomer withdrawals. Hey, glad to be back. The Nerdiest Geek says, what con will you be attending next? I don't know. I'm kind of looking into GaryCon in March. I don't know. I've got to give my babysitting compadres a break. So we'll see. So the next con I go to may have a whole bunch of little racketlets running around. Kenneth Robertson says, greetings to Ty Beard and his firm. Carry on, sir. CJ says, he's a sex doll distributor, not brothel owner yet. Oh, okay. That's very interesting. Henry A says, Jack Daniels has a rye whiskey. Love you, Mr. Ricotta. Ooh, Jack Daniels rye. Is it any good? Is it better than regular Jack? Eater of Booty says, welcome back. And is it actually defamation when Alex Jones called the Sandy Hook shooting a hoax? That's a tough question. We'll have to see what the courts say about it, right? We'll have to see. And then Silva Luca says, even if Vic doesn't win, do you think we saved him? I do. 100% think that we have saved Vic. I think we've given him an opportunity to persist in his career as it is. We've given him an opportunity to start something new outside of the bounds of Funimation. And I think we've rehabilitated his name. I know a bunch of people who have never seen an anime and had no idea that this was even happening until a couple months ago, have said that we have destroyed Vic's career. I see him going to cons. I see him going to more cons than he was going to before any of the YouTube coverage started. And yeah. So, and I see him doing solo events that sell or that have 400 attendees. So I didn't think he's in a better place, but only time will tell, I suppose. All right, guys, that's all of the chats. Let's wrap it up. Should we play some whiskey drinking lawyer? I think so. Hey, what's up? Sarah Hamidi is in the chat, and Sarah wrote an article I have not read yet, but it is out there about the Vic situation. So if you want to give Sarah's article a read and comment and interact with it however is possible, go check that out. But I will give it a read myself and give my thoughts when I can. So tomorrow we'll have another stream. We'll talk to you guys soon. I'm not quite sure what tomorrow will hold for stream content, but I think we've got no shortage of stuff coming out. So thank you for joining me on this very, very discombobulated post-travel stream as I get back in the saddle here. We've got a ton of stuff coming out, a ton of guests coming up, and should be great. So here is, let's get this. Is it going to play? Why did it do that? I'm telling you. Oh my goodness. Boomerang everything. I'm telling you, the Stream Deck is ticking me off, but we'll get that fixed. Good update, guys. Good update. So, anyway, here's the whiskey drinking lawyer. We will get some a bunch of stuff coming to you over the next several weeks. Come join me on Twitch if you want. If you're awake, if you're bored or whatever, twitch.tv/Ricada Law. Come hang out. I'm going to play some Path of Exile. There are some new games that I've gotten as well to play. And we'll be doing that, but not tonight. Because I'm not in a mood to tackle a new game. Oh my goodness. But I'll be over there in just a minute. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow or on Twitch tonight. Peace. Peace. Hey, weird it works going to the blank screen. F. Get unemployed, so pour out a glass for the tea. Post on Twitter as we hear lawsplaining tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we are now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dante to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed, so pour out a glass for the tea. Post on Twitter as we hear lawsplaining tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what